One of the things that I'm often asked is, how can you make sense of the terrible suffering that you and Jeannie have endured over the last 17 years, really? Our son Alex, 17 years old, committed suicide in 2005. And then 8 years later, our beautiful daughter Rebecca died in a tragic accident. And in between that, we'd had my sister had died of cancer, my brother died of cancer, Jeannie's nephew died. When you've been serving God with everything you've got, how can that happen? Your marriage nearly ended. You went through this terrible Job type experience. You had a cardiac arrest. Jeannie's been battling cancer. We were nearly made bankrupt. On and on, just one thing after another. How can you make sense of it? We'd never say God causes evil. We'd never say that. It's not true. But he permits it. Why? For his eternal plan and purpose. And part of that purpose is that we can pray along the lines of Luke 18 and the persistent widow. Our adversary is Satan. Satan comes to kill, rob, and destroy. And that's been one of the center cores of my prayers over the years for a great awakening, is along this very line. Father, give us justice against our adversary. And that's why our vision, the vision for Prayer at the Heart, is actually for 63 million souls to come to know Jesus, to be saved, to be rescued for eternity by 2027. What had happened with Prayer at the Heart is that they'd started in 2021 before I got involved, and they did a solemn assembly at the center of America, Lebanon in Kansas. Thousands of Christians came together crying out to God to rend the heavens and give us a great awakening. I was brought on board to bring those solemn assemblies to every state and then every county and every city. Halfway through 2022, we had a board meeting, and it was very clear that God was saying to us that he wanted us to do a special pilot here in Northeast Ohio. As soon as I started working on this pilot, I realized that God was doing something extraordinary. Because what I found was this incredible unity. Catholics, Pentecostals, evangelicals, African American church, Latino church, Caucasian churches, Messianic, all working together to cry out to God in prayer, but also in action. The mission statement of Prayer at the Heart is to ignite a great awakening through a national movement of humble, unified, desperate prayer and action. We decided that God wanted us to do 40 days of prayer, care, share, working together. Prayer being the undergirding of it all. Prayer and intercession is a key part of this. God led us to decide to have tents, 10 what we call tents of meeting. That comes from the Old Testament. It's a place where we can meet with God. And it's a place where individuals, Christians or non-Christians, they can come with their hungry hearts. So in the tents of meeting, it's an opportunity for people to meet with the God who desperately loves them. There's about 19 areas of specific needs that we'll be meeting. Everything from human trafficking to women in crisis pregnancy, mental illness, addictions, on and on. We'll be helping people in practical ways. But also, there'll be times when there'll be praise and there'll be some worship and testimony and prayer. And we're trusting, we're believing. Our desperate prayer is that the presence of God will come in these times in the tent. His presence will come. That's what happened in the Old Testament. If you remember, Moses used to go out to the tent of meeting from the camp. Joshua would be there and the presence of God would come. We have to lay down our lives. We have to embrace the cross. We have to put ourselves out if we want to see Jesus come. And boy, do we need it today in America. Such darkness over the land. And the only way you would deal with darkness is through light. And our prayer, our desperate prayer, is that as this happens, it'll be like a mighty tsunami wave that sweeps across the whole nation. It can happen anywhere. It just takes willing hearts, a willingness to lay down your life, to surrender all on the altar of his will. We're going to end with a great celebration in the public square in Cleveland on June the 17th. Plan to be there. The start is May the 8th. And May the 8th is a day when our precious daughter Rebecca went home to heaven. There's so many connections here that God is doing something truly amazing. And we have the privilege of being part of it. Thank you for watching. And I pray that if you're going through a hard time in your life, that you would not let go of your faith in Jesus Christ.